And Rhett, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Thank you, Alex, and welcome everybody. I know this is a very busy time of the school year for you, so I do appreciate you guys showing up and showing your commitment to your schools and trying to help keep them safe. So I'll do the best I can to get through here as quickly as I can for you. And we're going to be covering the SRP and the different drills there is, any new updates for the school year or what's coming down the road. So I'll get right into it for you guys, okay? First one, let's look at the history of SRP real quick. Came from I Love You Guys, back established 2006. This was their daughter. The parents who set up I Love You Guys. Their daughter sent a text to them. It says I love you guys. She was being held hostage. Unfortunately, did not make it out. And her last text to her parents were I love you guys. And that's kind of where that whole I Love You Guys title came from. That really encouraged them and motivated them to go out and say, hey, there's got to be something better out there than what we have now. And that's where they developed the SRP Standard Response Protocol back in 2009. It is, interesting to see that Columbine High School was the first one to use it. And now there's over 50,000 schools, and I wouldn't be surprised that number is even more now, that are actively using SRP in their schools. So I'd say, that many using it, and the history and the time and the expenses they put into it, I think this is a pretty good program. So why do we use SRP? Well, standardizing the language is the biggest one, right? Like easy language is easy to follow. So we don't need to sound like we're Navy SEALs or anything like that moving through the area. Just quick, simple, easy um, language. We'll just make it easier for everyone to follow, right? Easy to implement, applicable to the various situations, which we'll be covering over those. And it also aligns with law enforcement and emergency responders. So one of the things I'd really encourage you to do is, if you're not 100% sure with if your law enforcement, your local law enforcement is using SRP also, make sure you check with them. Make sure they also know what you guys are going to be using to make sure that everyone's having that standardized language, working together, making it seamless and work quickly if you need it. So here's the 5 actions that we're going to be going over today. That's going to be hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. And I'd like to go back and look at secure real quick. Secure is also known as lock. What is it? Lock. Which one is it, Alex? Lockdown,
Lockout.
lockout.
Lockout
Thank
was
you.
what
Yeah.
people we previously used.
Yes. So you guys can see how well I've actually got that out of my head. I don't even remember it now. But lockout was the other term. That term will officially go away, and you will not see lockout ever again after this year. It will be known secure from that point forward, starting next school year. But hey, let's go ahead and just start getting it into our head now. That secure is the call, not lockout. Hold. So hold is one of the drills is not currently required, but it is going to be required starting next school year, the 26-27 school year. So this is a great year for you guys to go ahead and start using that hold drill, start practicing with it, get familiar with it. And it's going to have it really prepared for you for next year when it does become a requirement. And the great thing about the hold call is that it doesn't have to be an emergency to be hold. It could be simple as, hey, there's a kid that came through and his Jamba Juice just went all over the floor. And we really don't want kids walking through it and tracking it up and stuff. So if we just use hold and we hold the kids in the classroom where they are, 2 or 3 minutes, we can let the custodian crew come down, get that cleaned up out of the way, and then we can release the class. Other great ways to use hold is for medical situations. And I can look back for like my history when I was working in the school district as a campus monitor. I wish I would have understood this a little better and knew how hold worked, because we had a young female student pass out in class. It happens, right? Sometimes kids just don't get enough water or whatever it is, and they pass out. And this young lady passed out. And of course, it came at that time when it always comes. The bell's getting ready to ring. In this case, it's going to be lunch. So we have a lunch bell ring, and we have EMTs trying to get in the building. We have kids trying to get out of the building because, McDonald's, we got to get there and back before the bell rings again. And it just created this chaos that just didn't really need to have. Where if I would have used the hold call, I could have held those kids in their classroom for that 10 to 15 minutes extra that it was going to be needed to get the EMTs And then also, to help protect the privacy of the student that is experiencing the medical condition. Um, so if we can get them in there, get them out, and then release them and let them go to their lunch. If you need to, add that time back into the lunch break. We want them to be safe, right? We don't want that, especially if you have an open campus. You don't want to encourage them to go drive crazy to try to make up the 10 minutes they just lost. So it's better to go ahead and say, hey, before we release you, we're going to add this 10 minutes to your lunchtime, and we'll make it up through the day as we go. But thank you for your cooperation, and then go ahead and release them there. Um, Elementary schools, again, I mean, it's like, what are you guys going to deal with? It's going to be a kid probably vomiting somewhere. The hold covers pretty much everything that you can possibly need a hold for. It could be a an emergency in the building. Where I was thinking about, we had one student self-harm in the bathroom. Instead of trying to like put up a privacy wall and stuff and like usher kids by and them all saying what's going on, we could have used the hold and just held everyone there and got that kid the attention and the help they needed, again, by keeping the privacy also. If you got to escort a student outside of the building, this is a good one to use here because it's not, again, it's not an emergency. It doesn't call for, a lot of paperwork or anything like that. But hold is a very strong call, and it will be required next year. So I strongly encourage you guys to use it this year to start practicing it. All right, secure, like we're talking about, this is no longer lockout, it's secure. And that starts next year, but let's start getting our minds wrapped around it now. So secure. Then the big thing on this here is used when a threat or hazard is outside of the school building. Um, I heard one question once about, well, what about if a bear gets in the building? I'm thinking, well, I mean, we can what if everything to death, but okay, and then I go back and read a story about how a bear actually got into a school. And I was like, wow, okay, there we go. Again, this is one where secure would be a good one to use if let's say if that bear, a wild animal, even a doe with young fawns can be very dangerous, right? Secure is a good one, hey, we're going to hold them in because that hazard's outside, and we're going to let whoever that needs to come help that hazard come take care of that, and then release from there when the all clear is given. This could also be for someone that's walking around the building outside. You're not really sure who they are, but they're walking around and they might be taking pictures of things or just not really looking through windows, but they're kind of looking around, peeking, and you're red flag. You're not really sure who he is or they are. Um, Secure. Again, hey, we can go secure. We can contact law enforcement and let them come address the situation. It might just be, hey, there was actually someone from the city out here that was looking for lines to mark for some digging that's going to be done. Hey, okay, you know what? We know, but this is great. Now we know even better. Or it could be like, yeah, no, this is someone that was up to no good, and we were able to intervene early and save ourselves from a escalating situation. So you have secure here, and this again is, you lock the exterior doors, and you continue the normal activities inside. So if a student wants to use the restroom or there's changeover during the end of a period or something like that, it's good to also remind them, hey, remember you guys, no one's going outside. We're insecure at this time. And I would post staff around those doors too to make sure students weren't exiting the building during that time. The secure protocol is required um, part of the drills that you'll be doing. Lockdown. So this is when the threat is inside the building. So this is like the one where, I was reading the story where the bear actually got inside the school. Yeah, we'd want to go lock down here. But this is also, elevated because on a lockdown, we're actually looking at a more serious real threat there. That's really looking at, hey, someone has accessed the building and they're looking to do harm. They're looking to create casualties, or they're looking to create chaos. And so in this one, you want to make sure, hey, lock the doors, turn off the lights, move out of sight, stay silent. And things that, I'd really encourage you guys to do is after this training is go back and even talk to your other staff members and stuff. Go in your classroom, lower the shades and make sure the shades can be lowered all the way down, that there's nothing there blocking it. Turn out those lights, sit back in your classroom and just study your classroom for a while. Let your eyes adjust to the dark, and just study that classroom for a while and find out, hey, where is the best place for me to place my students? And this is something you can actually do with your students too, because don't forget, all drills require 30 minutes of education to go with it. So it's something you can actually do with your students. And what it's going to do is help build that buy-in with the students of saying, hey, let's turn out these lights, let's close these blinds, let's all here as a group talk about where is the best place to hide and what are we going to do if we are here hiding. And then, maybe point out things like, okay, now turn on your cell phones. Like, come out there, open up your cell phone, and lock the screen, stand back and take a picture of it and show them like how much actually lights up a room and shows them like it's a shining beacon in there. So again, it's that telling the students the why and showing them the why that helps get that buy-in with this while you're doing that. And it's also, fitting into the education styles of it. And of course, you're practicing a drill that's going to keep you safe during the time. Um, and another thing is, this is what I was talking about, talk with your law enforcement. Here's a big one right here too, is you want to make sure you and your law enforcement are on the same page on this one. Because if you go into a lockdown, you want law enforcement being the only ones that open that door to get you out of there. So, there's a video out there of a school shooting somewhere, and there's knocking on the door, and they're saying, "Police, open up." You can hear one of the students in the background say, "Don't, I wouldn't do it." Like, don't open the door. I wouldn't do it. And it was a good call because it was a shooter. It wasn't the police, because the police aren't going to knock on the door and say, "Police, open the door for me." They're going to have the keys. They're going to be able to access that door. They're going to be able to come in there and announce themselves of who they are, and you're going to be able to visually see them, and they're going to take you to safety. Um, Here's another one to think about too of why lockdown works so well. There's studies out there that shows any door that's been properly locked and the lights are off and you're out of sight has never experienced a casualty in a situation like that. Um, the ones that have is because it's been very situated, it's been very focused. They had a target, they're going after that target, and they were going to get through that door for that target. They had no interest in anybody else. This one's more about, hey, the general ones, kind of like Columbine stuff, where they're just out trying to create mass casualties. So if that door is locked, those lights are off, and you're out of sight, it's never been breached. No one's ever lost light. And that's because, too, is the average emergency inside the building that's going to be going on there, the average is around 2 minutes. That person also knows they're on a timer also, and that a lot of people are going to be showing up soon. And so they're looking for the quickest, easiest, most damaging way they can go act in that place at that time. So that door locked out of sight and lights off does really work. A lot of stats behind it that show it. Um, so that's one of those ones again to like help also make sure you educate the students on that, because that's going to help with them in that moment of anxiety and being scared and not knowing what's going on. And again, these drills are to help with those, get everyone comfortable and to understand what they need to do and why they need to do it. The only way that you would evacuate out of a lockdown on your own without law enforcement is if the situation has become too dangerous for you, for the instance of you can smell or see smoke, or you can feel the heat or see the fire, then you might have to make the call of like, hey, we got to risk it, we got to evacuate because this situation has become extremely dangerous. And that's understandable. That's what you have to do. But if it's not like smoke and fire that's making it dangerous for you, stay there, wait until law enforcement gets you and retrieves you and releases you. Okay, evacuate. So evacuate, you're gonna use this one all the time, and that's just because of your fire drills alone. You're gonna do 10 of those a year, right? And in those fire drills, you're going to be practicing evacuating the building. And so every time you do a fire drill, you're also doing an evacuation drill. Um, so we want to use that in different situations also. You can use it for the fire drill, you can use it for earthquake drill and evacuate from that too. Um, you can do an evacuation drill on its own if you want to, just to work on different possibilities, different routes. And that's one thing I'd really encourage you guys to go back and to voice this to, is to whoever your safety person is for your for your school or for the district is, hey, when we're working on our fire drills and we're evacuating, we follow the same designated evacuation route every single time. And we usually know about the drill coming and we usually know where to go and we just kind of go through the motions of it. But what happens if that fire is actually, or that emergency, whatever it is actually in front of that door you need to access and escape from? it's good to practice that in your drills. Go take like a sandwich board or something, write fire on it, draw a picture of fire, put it in front of a door that's a usual normal route, and have those students and teachers, EAs, everyone that's in the building say, hey, this is blocked. What's route B or route C or route D, whatever that is, and start using some of those different routes too to help teach everyone that there is more than just one route than following the same route every single time. Um, so that's important one to use and to throw in there and to make sure you know too that hey have some fire drills that are an actual real surprise to everyone. You know, it's not announced to everyone that a fire drill's coming, so we have time to line up and get our jackets and everything. Is we need to see how people are going to do when they're unprepared and not thinking about it. How do we react to that? How much time did we spend collecting things and getting things together before we walk out of the room for the drill? Those are all things that you can pay attention to while the drill is going on. So you can go back and again, you have 30 minutes of education to use with the students. So again, that's something you can talk to them about and educate them on about, hey, if we're evacuating, this is how we need to do it. We really need to leave our stuff here, get up and go. Um, and then from there also is going out there and making sure you're taking the time to get the good, accurate head counts and the rosters are checked and practicing those drills and making sure you understand them and that you're very comfortable with them also because you don't want to be the person out there on the day of a real actual evacuate and be kind of panicking about, yeah, I walked off and forgot this, or I don't really know where that kid went. I'm not sure. And also, you know, make sure you also communicate if you do have a kid missing from your class and letting them know, hey, I'm sure Billy went to use the restroom, but he did not make it out here with my group. Someone hopefully will speak up that time and say, yeah, we have Billy here. But if not, then you guys know, hey, we don't have Billy. We need to find Billy. What do we need to go from there and making sure admin knows it. So under evacuate, it's a good one that you're going to be drilling all the time and using, but there's a lot of different things you can throw into every single drill. You got 10 of them. You can throw something different in there and to see how things are going to react and how are you going to work for it. And then also it lets you like kind of find where the weak spots are and say we can adjust that. Shelter. So with shelter, we're going to use this to, you know, especially during the earthquake drills first, right? The earthquake drill is going to happen, and we're going to shelter in place. We're going to take cover. We're going to hold on, and we're going to go through that earthquake drill. And then when the earthquake drill is over, and then you can move into your evacuation drill. But shelter's just not for the duck and cover either. Shelter can also be used, for instance, if there was a hazmat spill or rupture, explosion, something like that, and the wind's blowing your school that direction of the school, you can go into a shelter from there and hold everybody inside that building, making sure you like turn off the air conditioner or whatever, so you're not bringing in the dangerous chemicals from outside. But you can go into that shelter mode and keep everyone safe during that time and waiting for that all clear to be given. Don't just sit there and say, well, it's been 20 minutes, the wind probably blew by, we're good, and I'm going to release my kids. Wait until you actually hear that all clear from your admin that it's safe to resume normal activities through the day. Shelter, again, you know, can be used, you know, like if there is um, a collapse of a roof or something in the gym or something, you're like, okay, hey, we got our kids sheltered in our classrooms real quick. Now we're going to start evacuating out because we know which is the safest way to evacuate out of this building to make sure we keep everyone safe. So again, shelter, evacuation, both tie together very much, and you can do a lot of things when you're doing this drill to throw in different little things, throw in different little twists, and that just has everyone really focusing in, learning, and developing what they're doing and why they're doing it for. Like I said, I was going to make this fast for you guys. I know this is a lot to do, busy time of the school year. So I'm going to tie this up with talking about our regional coordinators real quick. If you're interested in SRP training or you feel like, hey, I got more questions about this, we're number one, we're going to stay on afterwards for a little while for you guys to have the opportunity to ask questions. But also, if you want to reach out, you can see our Northwest regional coordinator is Sarah, and then the Southwest is Bianca. And Central's me, and the East Regional is Melissa. feel free to reach out to one of them, ask for more training, ask for more clarification, or if you want to know more information, go ahead, hit them up. They're great. They really know what they're talking about, and can help get you where you want to be. So with that, I want to just go ahead and let you guys know what next month training session will be. This one's going to be the earthquake protective measures. There's our dates, October 7th to 21st, and it's the same bat channel, same bat time, 1:30 p.m. here. So I would like to go ahead and thank you guys for listening to me race through this for you. I hope you got a little something out of it. And again, we're going to stay on for a little bit so you can ask us questions, but also feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you with SRP or really any other questions that you might have about your school and safety. So thank you for your guys' time, and I will turn it over to Alex, and we'll field the questions.
Thanks, Rhett. I'll go ahead and stop recording here.